6 weeks later, certain private documents passed through my hands.
State documents?
Yes.
I had no idea that of all people in the world, Robert, that you could be so weak as to yield to such a temptation as Baron Arnheim held out to you.
Oh, I am sick of that phrase, Arthur. Sick of using it about others. Weak. Do you really think, Arthur, that it is weakness that yields to temptation? I tell you, there are terrible temptations that it requires strength. Strength and courage to yield to stake everything on one's life, to risk everything on one throw. Whether that stake be power or pleasure, I care not. There is no weakness in that. There is a horrible and terrible courage. I had that courage. I sat down that same afternoon and wrote Baron Arnheim the letter this woman now holds. He made $750,000 over the transaction.
And you?
I received from the Baron £110,000.
You were worth more than that.
No, that money gave me exactly what I wanted. Power over others. I went into the house immediately. The Baron advised me in finance from time to time. Within 5 years, I had almost trebled my fortune. Since then, everything I have touched has turned out to success. In all things connected with wealth, I have had a luck so extraordinary that sometimes it has made me almost afraid. I remember reading somewhere, and you know that. Thank you, Arthur, thank you, but what is to be done? What can be done?
Well, the English can't stand a man that is always saying that he's in the right, but they are really fond of someone that admits that he's in the wrong. However, in your case, a confession would not do. The money, if you allow me to say so, is awkward. And besides, even if you did make a clean breast of the whole affair, you would never be able to talk morality again. And in England, a man who cannot talk morality at least twice a week to a large, popular, immoral audience is quite over as a serious politician. There would be nothing left for him as a profession except for botany or the church. No, a confession would be of no use to us. It would ruin you.
Would ruin me. Arthur, I feel the only thing left for me to do is to fight the thing out.
I've been waiting for you to say that it is the only thing to do now, but it must begin with you telling your wife the whole thing at once.
That I will not.
Believe me, Robert, you are wrong.
No, I couldn't do it.
This is something that
couldn't do it. It would kill her love for me. Now, about this woman, this Mrs. Cheveley. How can I defend myself against her? You knew her before, Arthur, apparently.
Yes.
Did you know her well?
So little that I got engaged to be married to her once, while I was staying at the Tenbies. The whole affair lasted 3 days. Nearly.
Why was it broken off?
I forget it. At least it makes no matter now. By the way, did you try her with money? I remember she used to be confoundedly fond of money.
I offered her any sum of money she wanted. She refused.
Huh. And so the marvelous gospel of gold breaks down sometimes. The rich can't do everything, after all.
No, not everything. I suppose you're right. Arthur, I feel that public disgrace is in store for me. I feel certain of it. I did not know what terror was before. I know it now. It is if a hand of ice were placed upon one's heart, as if one's heart is beating itself to death inside of an empty horror.
You must fight her, Robert. You must fight her.
But how, Arthur?
I can't tell you how at present. I have the smallest idea, but everyone has a weak point, Robert. There is a flaw in each one of us. My mother tells me that even I have faults. Well, perhaps I do. I don't really know.
Defending myself against Mrs. Cheveley, I have every right to use any weapon I can find, have I not?
In your case, I wouldn't find the smallest scruple in doing so. She is thoroughly able to take care of herself.
Well, I shall send a cipher telegram to the embassy at Vienna to inquire if there's anything known against her. There may be some secret scandal she might be afraid of.
Yes, I am sure that Mrs. Cheveley is a very modern woman of our times and finds a new scandal as becoming as a new bonnet and airs them both in the park every afternoon at 5:30. I'm sure that she adores new scandals and that the only sorrow of life at present is that she cannot manage to have enough of them.
Why do you say that?
Well, she wore far too much rouge last night and not nearly enough clothes. That's always a sign of despair, woman.
But it is worth my while inquiring to the end, is it not?
It is always worthwhile asking a question. No, it is not always worthwhile answering one.
Is Mr. Trafford in his room?
Yes, Sir Robert.
Tell him to send this off in cipher at once. There must not be a moment's delay.
Yes, Sir Robert.
Oh, just give that back to me one moment. There you are. She must have had some secret hold of the Baron. I wonder what it was.
Yes, I wonder.
Fight her to the death, as long as my wife knows nothing.
Fight in any case, in any case.
If my wife found out, there would be little left to fight for. Well, as soon as I hear from Vienna, I shall let you know the result. It is a chance. It's a chance. But I believe in it. And as I fought this century with its own weapons, I will fight her with her own weapons. Is it only fair? And she looks like a woman with a past, doesn't she?
Most pretty women do. But there is a fashion in past, just as there is a fashion in frocks. And perhaps Mrs. Cheveley's past is merely a slightly delicate one. They are excessively popular nowadays. Besides, my dear fellow, I would not build too high hopes on frightening Mrs. Cheveley. You should not fancy that Mrs. Cheveley is a woman that is so easily frightened. She has survived all of her creditors, and she still shows a wonderful presence of mind.
Oh, I live on hopes now. I clutch at every chance. Arthur, I feel like a man on a ship that's sinking. The water is round my feet, and the very air is bitter with... Hush. I hear my wife's voice. Sit. Oh, sit!
Good afternoon, Lord Gordon.
Good afternoon, Lady Chilton. Have you been at the park?
No, I just come from the Women's Civil Association. But by the way, Robert, your name was received with loud applause. Now I've come in to have some tea. We'll wait and have some, won't you?
I'll wait a short while, thanks.
Be back in a moment. I'm only going to put my hat down.
Oh, please don't. It is such a pretty hat. One of the prettiest hats I ever saw. I'm sure that the Women's Liberal Association received it with loud applause.
We have much more important work to do than look at each other's bonnets, Lord Gordon.
Really? What sort of work?
Oh, useful, delightful things. Factory arts, the female inspectors, the 8 hours fair, the parliamentary franchise. Oh, everything in fact that you would find thoroughly uninteresting.
And never bonnets.
Never bonnets. Never.
You have been a good friend to me, Arthur. A thoroughly good friend.
I don't think I've been able to do much for you, Robert, as yet. In fact, I don't think I've been able to do anything for you at all. I'm thoroughly disappointed with myself.
You have enabled me to tell the truth. That is something. The truth is always stunning.
Oh, the truth. Something that I get rid of as soon as possible. It's a bad habit, by the way, and this one very unpopular at the club, especially with the older members. They call it being conceited. Perhaps it is.
I would to God I had been able to tell the truth. To live the truth. Ah, that is the great thing in life. To live the truth. Well, I shall see you soon again, shan't I, Arthur?
Certainly, whenever you like. I'm going to look in at the bachelor's board tonight, unless I find something better to do, of course. But I promise to come around tomorrow morning. If you should want me tonight by any chance, send round note to Curzon Street.
Thank you.
Oh, you're not going, Robert.
I have some letters to write, dear.
Oh, you work so hard. perhaps you will never think of yourself. You're looking so tired.
Oh, it is nothing, dear.
You're Robert's greatest friend. You're our greatest friend. No one except myself knows Robert better than you do. He has no secrets to me, and I don't think he has any from you.
He certainly has no secrets from me, at least I don't think so.
Oh, then am I not right in my estimate of him? Oh, but I know I'm right. But do speak to me frankly.
Quite frankly.
Surely. You have nothing to conceal, have you?
Nothing. But my dear Lady Tutton, I think, if you allow me to say so, that in practical life...
Oh, but you know so little,
I would say know so little by experience, though I know something by observation. I think that in practical life, there is something about success, actual success, that is a little unscrupulous. Something about ambition that is unscrupulous always. Once a man has set his heart and soul on getting to a certain point, if he has to climb the crag, he climbs the crag. If he has to walk the mire,
Well,
he walks the mire. Of course, I'm only speaking generally about life.
I sure hope so. Why don't you look at me so strangely, little boy?
Lady Turton, I think that sometimes you are a little hard on some of your views of life. I think that often you do not make sufficient allowances. In every nature there are elements of weakness, or worse than weakness. Supposing, for instance, that any public man, my father or Lord Merton or Robert, say, had years ago written a foolish letter to someone of...
What do you mean by a foolish letter?
A letter greatly compromising one's position. I'm putting an imaginary case, of course.
Well, Robert is incapable of doing a foolish thing as he is of doing a wrong thing.
No one is incapable of doing a foolish thing. No one is incapable of doing a wrong thing.
Oh, you are pessimist. The other dandy said it all on the count of one.
No, Lady Johnson. I'm not a pessimist. Indeed, I don't think I quite understand what pessimism really means. All I know is that life cannot be understood without much charity. It cannot be lived without charity. It is love, not German philosophy. That is the only true explanation of the world, whatever may be the explanation of the next. And if you are ever in trouble, Lady Turton, trust me absolutely, and I will help you in whatever way that I can. If you should ever want me, come to me for my assistance, and you shall have it. Come at once to me.
Lord Goring, you are talking quite seriously. I don't think I've heard you talk so seriously before.
I beg your pardon, Lady Turton. It will not occur again, at least as far as I can help
But
it.
I'd like you to be serious.
Do not say such a dreadful thing to Lord Goring. Seriousness would be quite unbecoming. Oh, how do you do, Lord Goring? Pray be as trivial as you can.
I should like to, Miss Mabel, but I'm afraid I'm a little out of practice this morning. Besides, I have to be leaving now.
Just as I have come in. What terrible manners you have. I'm sure you were very badly brought up.
I was.
I wish I had brought you up.
And I'm so sorry that you didn't.
I suppose it is too late now?
Well, I'm not so sure.
Will you ride tomorrow morning?
Yes. 10 o'clock.
Don't forget.
Of course. I shall.